Bagwell-Batts has a beta of 1.15. The market risk premium is 7%. The risk-free rate of return is 4%. What is the required return and what is the risk premium on Bagwell-Batts common stock? So a two-part question here. Let's start with our formula. The required rate of return is equal to the risk-free rate plus the return on the market minus the risk-free rate times the beta of the asset. All right? We're given that the risk-free rate is 4. We are also given that the market risk premium is 7. Remember, the market risk premium is what's in parentheses. It's the return on the market minus the risk-free rate. So on average, investors want 7% more than the risk-free rate before they will invest in the market. This beta is 1.15. So we get a required rate of return of 12.05%. That's the required rate of return. We were also asked for the risk premium on Bagwell common stock. This portion of the capital asset pricing model is the risk premium on the stock. Okay? And so if we take the 7% market risk premium times the 1.15, we get a risk premium of 8.05%. So while the market risk premium is 7%, investors want 8.05% to invest in Bagwell common stock because, as we see from the beta, Bagwell-Batts common stock returns are riskier. They are more volatile than are the returns on the market portfolio. The market risk premium is 8%. The risk-free rate of return is 5%. Draw the SML. Show the impact on the SML if the market risk premium decreases to 7%. Okay. To draw the SML, we need two axes, a y-axis and an x-axis. On our y-axis, we have the return. And on our x-axis, we have risk. And since this is the SML, the risk is measured by beta. Okay? We are also given two rates of return. We know that the risk-free rate is 5%, and so that goes on this axis here. This is the risk-free rate of 5. And it goes on the y-axis because we see that a risk-free security is free of risk. Therefore, it's at a point of 0 risk on this axis. All right. We also know that the market risk premium is 8%. That is, investors want 8% on top of the risk-free rate before they will invest in the market. So if we start at 5 and we go up 8%, that's going to take us up here to 13%, which must be our market return. Investors require 13% to invest in the market, which gives us a market risk premium of 8%. We know that the market return corresponds to a beta of 1.0 because the market has a beta of 1. And so if we plot as best we can, we have our 2 points. We can connect our dots, and that gives us what's called the security market line. All right? Now the question says, show the impact on the SML if the market risk premium were to decrease to 7%. Well, what happens? What if investors no longer required 8% to invest in the market, but only required 7% risk premium? Well, then the market rate of return would fall to 12, wouldn't it? We would have a new market rate of return of 12. And the market return, of course, would correspond to a beta of 1. And so what we would see happen would be the SML would become less steep. The SML would change its slope, and I'll call this SML2 to represent the new SML. So it says show the impact on the SML if the market risk premium were to decrease to 7%. We see that the slope of the SML would change and it would become less steep. What are our key points? We've got the capital asset pricing model, the SML, the CML. Well, the capital asset pricing model is a very powerful model, as is the capital market line. Both of these models highlight the relationship between risk and return. Both models show us that the required rate of return on an asset is a function of the risk-free rate plus a risk premium that's going to compensate the investor for the riskiness of the investment. But there are certainly some key differences, aren't there? The SML uses beta as a measure of the risk. This model can be used for individual stocks as well as any portfolio. The capital market line, on the other hand, uses standard deviation as the measure of risk. The capital market line can only be used to determine the required rate of return on well-diversified portfolios.